Your body can feel fine, but your mind is dragging. Overthinking isn't just a mental habit. It's a full-time job that never ends. It's like being on a treadmill that speeds up the more you try to slow it down. You wake up feeling as though you never slept, your mind already racing before your feet touch the floor. There's no true rest, only temporary pauses filled with noise. And it's exhausting, not in the way people usually understand, but in the way that makes your thoughts feel heavier than your limbs. Every moment of quiet becomes a trapdoor into deeper rumination. You sit still and suddenly, your brain plays back yesterday's conversation in slow motion. Did you say too much? Did your voice shake? Did they misunderstand you? It doesn't matter that everything went fine. Your brain insists there must have been something wrong. A flaw. A moment that needs fixing. So you rewind. You edit. You script responses for things that already happened, or for things that might never happen at all. Distraction becomes your lifeline. Not because you're avoiding reality, but because you're escaping your own internal noise. Music, scrolling through your phone, binge-watching a show, chatting about nothing, these aren't just hobbies. They're shields. They help drown out the volume of your thoughts, even if just for a little while. But as soon as the noise of the world fades, your own mind becomes louder again, almost angry that you tried to ignore it. The silence doesn't soothe. It roars. You smile without thinking. A practiced reflex that says, "I'm fine." You nod, laugh, carry on conversations, play your part perfectly. But while your lips are moving, your brain is running diagnostics in the background. Did they just frown at you? Was that a joke at your expense? Are they bored with you? Are you being too much or not enough? You want to stop caring, but it feels like your mind is programmed to overanalyze every expression, every word, every silence. It's not paranoia, it's hyper-awareness. And it's exhausting. Even in moments that are supposed to be joyful, your mind doesn't give you peace. You're with friends, laughing, joking, sharing stories. On the outside, you look like you're enjoying yourself. But on the inside, you're reviewing your lines, checking your tone, wondering if you're too quiet, too loud, too needy. You ask yourself if they really like you or if they're just being polite. You question your belonging, even in places where you're wanted. And that's the hardest part because no one sees it. Overthinking is invisible, but it's loud. It echoes inside you until it drowns out reality. And the worst part? It often leaves you feeling alone, even when you're surrounded by people. Because while others can rest, you're busy holding it together. You're doing emotional gymnastics behind the scenes while trying to seem normal on the outside. Even when you're doing nothing, you're doing everything internally. People look at you and see someone calm, composed, reflective. They don't realize the noise you're managing in silence, the doubts you're suppressing, the constant internal negotiation of, did I do something wrong? Or am I enough? You're not being dramatic or weak. You're just tired from carrying the weight of thoughts that won't stop, from trying to stay present in a mind that keeps pulling you backward and forward, but rarely lets you be still. That's the quiet cost of overthinking. It doesn't show up in dramatic ways. It hides in silence. It drains you slowly. And most of the time, no one ever knows how hard you're trying, how deeply you want peace. Not from the world, but from your own mind. You reread texts, not just for the words, but for the meaning behind them. You scan every sentence like it's a secret code. You wonder if that period was too cold, if the lack of an emoji means something, if okay is actually okay, or if it's a silent withdrawal. You draft your replies carefully, erase them, type again, add a smiley, remove it, read it again from their perspective, hit send, then immediately regret it, then check if they've seen it. You wonder if they saw it too soon and thought you were too eager, or if they took too long and maybe you said something wrong. These are the habits no one notices. You're sitting quietly, phone in hand, looking like you're scrolling casually. But inside, you're spiraling. You're analyzing the tone of a 3-word message like it's a thesis. And when you don't get a reply in the way or time you expected, your mind fills in the blanks. Maybe they're upset. Maybe they're tired of you. Maybe you came off too strong. The conversation may be over on the screen, but it's far from over in your mind. You rehearse conversations like a director going through endless takes. Before they happen, you play them out. You anticipate questions, imagine responses. You craft the perfect words in your head, hoping to be understood, to connect, to avoid awkwardness. After they happen, you replay them again, scene by scene, analyzing your tone, their reaction, your phrasing. You think of better comebacks, kinder answers, more honest expressions. You imagine alternate timelines where you spoke differently and things unfolded in a better way. It's not because you want control in the traditional sense. It's because you crave clarity. You want to be sure. You want to feel safe in the interaction, in your memory of it. You remember things others forget. Offhand remarks, fleeting glances, the way someone shifted in their seat or the tone in which they said, "It's fine." You replay moments from weeks ago because your brain bookmarked them as important. It's not about being overly sensitive. It's because your mind records everything in high definition. You notice micro-expressions, the pause between words, the way someone didn't smile when they usually do. It all gets stored, reviewed, evaluated. You wish you could delete some of it or at least turn the volume down. But it all stays quietly looping in the background. Overthinking isn't just a mental tic. It's a deeply ingrained habit, an invisible one. It happens silently, behind steady eyes and polite nods. From the outside, you might look calm, composed, even distracted. But inside, your mind is in motion, turning over thoughts like stones, looking for sharp edges or missed clues. It's not about obsessing. It's about protection. Fear of getting it wrong. Fear of being misread or misunderstood. Fear of disappointing someone. Fear of being too much or not enough. You think too much. And then, inevitably, you think about why you think too much. You wonder what's broken, what's wired differently inside you. You ask yourself why you can't just go with the flow like others seem to. Why your brain turns every simple interaction into a puzzle. You long for silence, not the kind around you but the kind inside. You crave peace but all you get is feedback. Your thoughts reviewing themselves, layer after layer. People don't see it. They just see someone who types slowly, who pauses before speaking, who seems deep in thought. They don't know that in that pause, you've already lived the next 10 versions of the conversation. That your silence isn't emptiness. It's full, brimming with caution, care, and an exhausting kind of intelligence. The kind that never really rests. You call it normal, not because it feels easy, but because it's familiar. This endless stream of thought, this mental traffic, this quiet storm inside you, it's always been there. So you learn to live with it. You assumed everyone's brain worked the same way. That everyone stayed up replaying small conversations. That everyone analyzed every look, every word, every pause. You never questioned it. It was just how your mind worked. And it never stopped working. But sometimes you catch glimpses of something different. You see people laugh and actually let things go. You see them move on without revisiting every detail. They make mistakes and shrug them off. They sleep easily, breathe easily, live lightly. You envy that softness, that freedom, not because you think they're better, but because you wonder what it would be like to carry less, to think less, to just be. And yet, there's a part of you that understands this mind of yours is not broken. It's just different. Your overthinking didn't come from nowhere. It grew out of care, out of awareness, out of the deep desire to understand, to protect, to connect. You want to get things right. You want to mean what you say and say what you mean. You feel more than you let on. You notice the small things that others miss. That's not a flaw. That's emotional intelligence. That's empathy. That's depth. You care too much about how others feel, about how your words might land, about the energy in the room. Can be overwhelming, can drain you, but it also means you love deeply. You show up fully. You reflect and grow and try again. That's something rare and beautiful. But even beautiful things need rest. You deserve peace. You deserve a mind that lets you sleep. A heart that doesn't race when things are quiet. A soul that doesn't feel guilty for needing space. You deserve to take up room without having to apologize for it. To feel joy without fearing that it's temporary. You deserve silence that soothes, not scares. You deserve to breathe fully and freely without having to explain why. And maybe that peace doesn't come from fixing yourself. Maybe it starts with stopping the fight. Maybe it's not about silencing your thoughts, but softening them, seeing them for what they are, passing clouds, not permanent truths. You are not broken because your brain is busy. You are not flawed because your thoughts are loud. You are the witness to all of it, the awareness behind the noise, the space in which it all moves. So tonight, when the spiral starts again, try something different. Don't resist. Don't engage. Just watch, like you're sitting at the edge of a river, watching your thoughts float by. Some will be loud. Some will sting. Some will try to pull you in. Let them come. Let them go. Return to your breath. One inhale. One exhale. That's all you need to do. You are not your thoughts. You are the space they pass through. And that space is vast, open, gentle. It's okay to think deeply, to care deeply, but it's also okay to rest, to close your eyes without solving everything, to take a night off from being strong or smart or prepared, to just be human. So maybe tonight is not about fixing, changing, or improving. Maybe it's about allowing, softening, letting go not of who you are, but of the idea that you must always be more. Maybe it's time to pause and just breathe.